Today's sync sound is the clicking of a pen. In 3, 2, 1.
That was kind of hard.
I wasn't sure how many clicks to do. I think I may have done twice as many.
That's okay.
All right, welcome to That Just Might Work, the podcast about everyday items. Jesse, how are you doing? Are you finally home from your business trip?
Yeah, I just got back like an hour ago.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know that the plan was to record on Friday evening. We had some complications with you were in a different time zone, and we decided Sunday night. It's now 9:45 p.m. This is a good time as any to record an episode that needs to be released. Actually, normally it would have been released an hour and 45 minutes prior to the recording of this episode.
Hopefully no one notices.
Yeah, it's going to be up there for tomorrow.
Your morning commute.
So,
yeah.
So how was the business trip? How did the bomb go?
Oh, great. We made the best bomb. I'm kidding. It's exhausting. I was there for 2 weeks, and we work like 12-hour days. So, and now with the time zone change, I you said it's 9:45, but my body has like no idea what time it is.
Did you use a travel pillow?
So I was actually laughing today because on the flight back, I did pass out at a very early flight, so I fell asleep. And I'm imagining it looked pretty funny to the people next to me because I slept for like 3 hours on the plane with my travel pillow just in my lap, not doing anything. Which I think is like the perfect image for, just how useless they really are.
I appreciate that, though, and I saw that one of our Facebook followers had tagged us in an article about how the travel pillows really just. I didn't read much of it; I skimmed it, but it seemed like the gist of it was that it's not good for you.
Right, the traditional U-shaped foam one just really doesn't do a whole lot.
So, continuing on with the That Just Might Work travel special. It's a very short-lived one. It's going to conclude with this episode today.
Yep.
Today's episode is on the suitcase.
We all have them. Some of us have more than one.
Yeah. What type of suitcase do you use for the type of trip you're on right now? That's a long trip. So do you have a large one?
Yeah, for these, I use one of those. I don't really know how big they are, but pretty much the biggest ones you can get. The ones you have to check.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm not even sure that I own. I think I normally would use my fiance's carry-on travel bag. I normally use a duffel bag, so I may be in the minority with my suitcase of choice.
So maybe you're ready for some innovation then.
Yeah, and we'll get into it, but I'll admit I did have a hard time with. Thinking about why I don't like the suitcase and what can be improved with it, because it does say, I'll say from the get-go, it's a pretty well-rounded invention.
Yeah. Well respected as far as objects go, I'd say.
Yeah, and it has taken a form that is pretty consistent. Everybody kind of has a similar suitcase, and it holds your clothes, and so that's what it's designed to do. But with that, let's get into it. And kicking things off with the definition of the suitcase from Wikipedia. Ready?
Yeah.
A suitcase, not to be confused with a briefcase, is a form of luggage. It is often a somewhat flat, rectangular-shaped bag with rounded square corners, either metal, hard plastic, or made of cloth, vinyl, or leather, that more or less retains its shape, and has a carrying handle on one side, and is used mainly for transporting clothes and other possessions during trips. It opens on hinges like a door. Suitcases often lock with keys or a combination.
I never lock my suitcase.
No.
I don't think I've ever traveled with it anything like valuable enough to warrant that.
A lot of people have that little lock like that you used to have on a journal or a diary when you were 9.
Right, that's not going to do anything.
Like, I could pull that apart with my hands, let alone with any sort of lock cutting tool. And just a standard pair of scissors will get you into one of those.
Right.
But yeah, I thought the definition was interesting. There were a lot of like criteria to define it as a suitcase, as though if it doesn't have a handle, you can't call it a suitcase. Yeah. So jumping into the history here, and we'll get to the guessing game. But we kind of have to jump all over a timeline a little bit here. The history of the suitcase is actually pretty interesting. It's not only significant to the history of America as a country, because you think about immigrants stepping off the boats at Ellis Island, having their suitcases or their crates. That was really kind of an image of like, immigration.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking for a second you were talking about like Christopher Columbus or something, like coming over from, where'd he come from? Spain. And just like,
sure,
it was important for finding the country that they had all their belongings in a suitcase.
No. So it's also significant to the history of all world travelers venturing to new places. It's existed at times as a symbol of status, and of course as a practical means of carrying one's belongings. And luggage has changed over time with regards to the materials that were available and the function that the suitcase served at the time. So historically, the most common types of luggage were chests or trunks, which were made of wood and other heavy materials. You'll note I'm transitioning from suitcase into luggage a little bit here.
Yeah.
As a generic area of the history of the suitcase. They would be shipped by professional movers. However, since the Second World War, smaller and more lightweight suitcases and bags that can be carried by an individual have become the main form of luggage. I'm just going to say right now, I want to go back to trunks with professional movers. That sounds like it would solve a lot of my issues.
You've been showing up to like a hotel and you've got like a 6-foot wooden trunk.
So originally suitcases were made of wool or linen, and the materials chosen to construct the suitcases are a product of their time, as I mentioned. Wool, wood, leather, metal, plastic, fiber composite, and recycled materials are all common suitcase materials. And for example, during covered wagon times,
my favorite time. That was my favorite time.
that is about 1865, isn't it?
I think it might be, yeah.
Trunks were popular as a form of transporting goods because the ride was rough, so the luggage had to be strong. The theme of suitcases becoming less cumbersome over time could be also directly related to the advancement of better transportation.
Okay, I see that.
We got suspensions in automobiles and then airplanes and pretty smooth rides, so they didn't have to withstand like a crazy bumpy ride anymore. Right. Starting with the... let's go into the... I want to get into the 20th century, but I do want to ask you, when do you think the earliest, let's just say, wheeled luggage made an appearance in the history of time?
Oh, wheeled. Okay, that's a good... I was going to say, again, a reference point, but not for me. Let's say 1895.
No, actually much earlier. The Knights Templar were the first to make use of wheeled luggage. The soldiers used the wheeled cases to transport armor and other items as early as 1153 during the Crusades.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so
I feel like at some point in my lifetime I've owned a suitcase that didn't have wheels. So it's like, what's going on there?
Yeah, and we'll get to that because I might be cheating with the timeline because I think the patent for wheeled luggage was like, I think it was in like 1980 or something like that.
Oh, damn.
We'll get to that. Mexican workers in the mid-20th century often left their home country with knapsacks or other bags, but returned to Mexico carrying shiny new suitcases as a symbol of their accomplishments. And that's out of an article, A Brief History of the Modern Suitcase by travelandleisure.com. Wikipedia wasn't much help for this episode.
That must have been a riveting article.
It was a good read.
Yeah.
By 1596, Oxford English Dictionary added the word luggage to its pages. The word luggage stemming from the word lug to denote, like dragging something inconveniently heavy.
Yeah.
and age, or, luggage. The act of, I'm testing my Latin here, but it's just the act of doing something. So,
okay.
One of the most prominent real-life figures in this shift of... I skipped a note here. The 19th century regarded as the golden age of luggage, the 1800s, Jesse.
We've fallen out of the golden age.
There was a real cultural shift developed where luggage became an icon of status. And as I mentioned, one of the most prominent real-life figures in this shift was... Want to take a guess?
What time frame did you say again?
Or in the 1800s, somebody who was the one of the most prominent figures to transition the luggage into a status icon.
Thomas Edison.
I knew that was going to be good. No. Actually, Louis Vuitton.
Oh.
A young Parisian trunk maker who helped to create one of the most recognizable luxury brands in the world. When young Louis arrived in Paris at the age of 16 in 1821, if you had asked me yesterday, like, how old do you think Louis Vuitton? I might have guessed he was still alive.
That's what I was thinking when you said that. I was like, oh, he's one of those like mid-50s fashion designers.
No, he was born in like the first decade of the 1800s.
All right.
He became an apprentice to boxmaker Monsieur Marchal. After honing his craft for 17 years, Vuitton would finally open his own brand under his well-known logo.
I wanted to say I think your French has improved since episode 1, but that would be a lie.
I'm not sure if I said that name correctly, but I figured if I just did it with confidence, nobody would question it.
Yep.
Vuitton is credited with creating the first slatted trunk that would become ubiquitous with train travel of the 19th century. The brand also built its reputation around the strength of its luggage locks. And Louis Vuitton even publicly challenged Harry Houdini to attempt to break out of one of his locks in 1890. But Houdini reportedly did not respond to the challenge.
It's like a classic publicity stunt situation.
Yeah. Nowadays it would be like Samsonite challenging David Blaine.
Yeah, exactly.
What we now consider the suitcase was invented at the turn of the 20th century. And it was intended as a lightweight, compact carrier designed to transport a dress suit without wrinkling it, hence Suitcase.
All right, that was pretty in line with my time guess, I think.
Yeah, it was. Across the... I don't want to give you too much credit. Across the ocean from Louis Vuitton's workshop, businessman Jesse Schwader, no relation, returned from New York...
to the Schwaders.
He returned from New York to his hometown in Colorado to start a small business with his brothers in the early 1900s. The brothers opened shop in 1910, manufacturing trunks as the Schwader brothers. And that company would become known as what, Jesse?
Gucci. Probably not, no.
Samsonite, actually.
Oh, okay.
They have been around for a long time. The dawn of air travel ushered in a new era of innovation in luggage as people worldwide took to the skies commercially in the late 1950s. Travelers required suitcases that could fit in the overhead compartments or be safely lugged around an airport. This led to synthetic materials becoming increasingly popular, plastic handles. As many travelers can attest to, perhaps one of the greatest innovations of luggage in the 20th century came from Bernard Sado, who patented the wheeled luggage in 1974. I was off by about a decade.
Yeah, that was a big deal though for luggage.
Oh yeah. And despite its utility, I found this really interesting. The idea of wheeled luggage did not take off immediately. Men in particular were very resistant to the idea of wheeled luggage. Can you guess why?
Just like it's an attack on their masculinity. Is that the
Exactly. Exactly. Certain department stores refused to carry wheeled luggage at first, saying that they were too effeminate for male customers.
That's pretty funny. I don't think anyone would feel that way today.
No, I can't imagine. So if you're like so insecure in your masculinity that you carry your wheeled suitcase,
yeah, right.
I would think you have some issues, right?
It's like I want to see you carry your wooden trunk onto the plane.
Yeah. Now, your giant suitcase that you took with you on this business trip to make the bomb,
yes,
did it have wheels?
Oh yeah, it's got 4 wheels, and it's the wheels that rotate in like every direction. So
yeah. So when I was thinking about suitcases that I remember from my lifetime, I know that you and I will have had the same experience for the most part, but I think about like the suitcases that our parents owned when we were taking trips when we were young, and I remember them being like massive. They basically looked like briefcases that were like 20 times the size of a briefcase.
Yep.
And there were no wheels, and it was like you were in serious like shoulder pain if you had to carry it.
And
in the
it was kind of important to carry 2 because you needed to be like equally weighted on both sides.
I know, and it's I don't know. It's funny to me that somebody didn't think to put wheels into large suitcases until it feels like just the last 20 years or so.
Oh, it's that fragile masculinity. It's holding us back.
We saw a couple of advancements in the technology going into suitcases. The first aluminum travel cases in 1938, actually. Jumping ahead to the 21st century, the first suitcases made of polycarbonate, made in 2000 by the German luggage maker Rimowa. Most luggage manufacturers have made some suitcases from that material. But I'm not even going to try to say the name of this material. Abbreviated as ABS. I'll try just for fun. Acrylon. No, you know what? I can't do it.
You're going to bail on it?
ABS, anti-lock braking system.
Okay.
It was cheaper than polycarbonate and polypropylene. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Which was lighter than that. This isn't interesting. I'm just going to skip this. The next phase of a future luggage, and maybe you stumbled upon some of this in your research. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is some smart technology coming out onto the market. Devices that track your luggage remotely. There's a trend towards robotics, in particular with startups looking to create autonomous suitcases that will follow their owners around an airport.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there.
So, we'll get there. With that, let's take a deep breath. We got through the history of the suitcase.
Ooh. Another wild ride.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. Any questions? No. I thought we would take a break and play a new game. How does that sound to you?
Okay.
This game is going to be called Fact or Fiction, and this particular rendition is Suitcases, Fact or Fiction. This is going to be a new game for the podcast. I hope to play with some regularity. And you're going to be the first contestant, Jesse.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah, you should be. So I have 10 statements about suitcases and luggage in general.
Is this going to be like you surveyed 100 people?
Yeah, this is like Family Feud. No. I have these 10 statements, I'll say. Some of them I made up. Some of them are true. You need to answer fact or fiction after I read the statement. You're going to have 1 minute to complete this quiz, we'll call it.
Okay.
And your goal is to try to get as many correct as possible in that 1 minute. We'll just tally your score against mine in the future, or a guest in the future, to see who can hold the highest score in this game.
Right. Okay.
So let me just test. We have worked out the kinks in our buzzer system. Sounds good.
Oh God.
Is it loud?
That's going to be glaring for people who are driving as they listen to this. But no, it wasn't deafening, so let's keep going.
All right. So I'm going to prepare a minute on the clock. Tell me when you're ready. I'm going to read through these quickly so as to not waste too much of your time.
Okay, and you just want me to say, like, fact, fiction. Just those
Fact
two words.
or fiction.
Okay.
Correct. Or you could say whatever you want, but just bear in mind you have 1 minute to get through all 10. So, allocate 10 seconds per point if you would like.
Alrighty. I'm ready.
Okay. The clock is starting in 3, 2, 1. 1 minute on the clock. Let's go. The average woman owns 6 handbags. True or false? Fact or fiction?
Fact.
That is correct. Shakespeare was one of the first to cite the word luggage in his masterpiece, Henry IV.
Oh, you just told me when the word luggage was invented, and I kind of know when Shakespeare was around. Fact.
That is correct. 36 seconds remaining. TSA agents at LaGuardia Airport once found a live flying squirrel hidden in a man's sock amongst his luggage.
Fact.
That is false. It's illegal to use a suitcase for travel in Albania.
Fiction?
That is true. Oh, well, that is fiction. All lost and unclaimed luggage eventually ends up in Evansville, Indiana, where its contents are sold to the public.
Fiction.
True, and you have one last question. The weight limit for a checked bag on United Airlines is 75 pounds.
Fiction.
That is correct. It's 50 pounds.
Ooh.
Time is up. You did not get there. I'm surprised we didn't get through all 10 points there. But how many did you get correct? Let's see. One, two,
Yeah,
three.
I was hoping someone was paying attention. I was focused.
4, I think, because you said false to Evansville, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
In fact, all unclaimed luggage ends up in Scottsboro, Alabama, where its contents are sold to the public.
Wait, that's a real thing?
Yeah. And and you got the weight limit for a checked bag. So I think you got 5 points.
Not bad.
We'll have to check the tape, but that's not too bad. That's a 50%, though we didn't get through all the questions. I do want to read a couple more off of here, just for fun.
Sure.
Bowling balls are allowed on airplanes. Fact or fiction?
I would say fact.
That is true. And live lobsters allowed on airplanes.
Is it like a therapy lobster? Is that a thing?
No.
Fiction.
No. Actually, you can bring a live lobster on an airplane.
For what? For what purpose?
for consumption, not on the airplane, but I assume it needs to be packed in some sort of appropriate container. So that is Suitcase, fact or fiction. That was supposed to be a stress-free break from the Suitcase, but I feel like it just kind of stressed me out.
Yeah, my heart rate is up.
All right, very good. Moving on to the next part of the episode, why it sucks. Why don't you go first, Jesse? What do you hate about the modern Suitcase?
Yeah, and I think, like we alluded to earlier, it's a pretty good object. So unlike some of the other ones we've done, where I've got like a laundry list of things I hate, I've only got a few that really bother me. Particularly with like the larger ones, they're kind of they're cumbersome to walk with. They obviously can be very heavy. Even though they have wheels, if you're ever like taking tight turns or going up a sidewalk or anything like that, they can kind of tip over and topple. And then,
suitcases don't steer well.
No, yeah, it's kind of, you've got like a linear stick and you just kind of have to move it, and I feel like that could be done better. The other thing, they're very this might be a tendency of our items to do many things in one, but they're very single purpose. You shove your clothes in them and that's all they do, and you take them with you, and I feel like
I agree.
There's some room.
I was going to say, it feels like they don't do much, therefore there must be room for innovation.
Right. Like, if it already works, we should complicate it further.
That's like the gist of the show. So.
Right.
Anything else?
No. What about you?
I said that I feel like there's not enough space for my stuff most of the time. They're heavy to carry. They're difficult to roll. You make a turn and then it flips over on its side and you look like an idiot in the airport.
Yeah.
Why don't they have wheels that can turn?
I mean, maybe some of the newer, fancier ones do, but I have one carry-on suitcase that has like it literally has like a speed limit, and if you needed to, let's say, run in the airport or something like that, if you reach a certain speed, it gets like the speed wobbles that like a racer might get or something, and all of a sudden it just becomes unstable and you can't move with it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I said that they're pretty easily broken. I feel like they're cheaply made in general. Most of them are not waterproof. I would like more compartments. And reading the history, I kind of thought about the fact that it's sad that everybody has this generic carry-on, wheeled suitcase that looks basically the same.
Right.
It comes in like 4 different colors.
Yep.
Why don't we have more of a status symbol, a little more, customization? I know that there are, guidelines for the overhead compartments in airplanes, but I just think that suitcases could be a little bit more stylish and more fun.
It's like a page out of Hannah's book. She probably would like a bedazzled one.
Yes. Put middle fingers all over mine.
Exactly.
Let's get into innovative news. What did you find out there for some new age technology in suitcases?
Yeah, and hopefully this doesn't become a pattern, but I have one thing that I need to complain about again before we dive in. And this is aircraft-grade aluminum. Have you come across that at all in your research? This...
no. What is aircraft grade aluminum? Is that actually better than regular aluminum?
That's the thing. Is like all these Kickstarters. A few of them made. I think you had mentioned aluminum suitcases, and some of them are making modern versions of that. And they quote using aircraft grade aluminum. And I was kind of stuck on that. And I was like, what does that like really mean? So I Googled it, and really, it's just a marketing buzzword because. There are a bunch of different aluminum alloys, and they get used for different things. But the specific aluminum alloy that's been used in aircraft has changed a number of times since the inception of aircraft. And like one of the examples, alloy 6061, has been used in aircraft. It's also been used to make soda cans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my understanding of aluminum is that it's not like strong. It's lightweight, has moderate strength.
Right.
And has other beneficial attributes in terms of airplanes and soda storage.
Yeah. It's strong relative to its weight, and depending on the usage, it could be the thing you need. But quoting that you're going to use aircraft grade aluminum in your suitcase, you shouldn't really fall and think that that's going to make my suitcase better than any other suitcase.
No, if you came out and said this is made with high grade stainless steel, then I would be.
Now we're talking
the durability. Yeah,
it's starting to get a little heavy, but that's okay.
This is reminding me of those the Ford versus Chevy commercials, where you know what I'm talking about, where it's like one of them has like an aluminum truck bed. I think the Ford.
Yep.
So it's a bunch of dudes, and they're like throwing a toolbox into the pickup bed, and it punctures the aluminum.
Oh yeah.
So they're trying to say that the steel is better because it is more durable. Of course, it's also heavier, but
yeah, trade-offs. Anyway, that's one of the things I picked up in a couple Kickstarters. The first interesting one I want to talk about is Fugu Luggage. This was a successful Kickstarter, and it's kind of a cool concept. It's either a carry-on or a full-size piece of luggage. It actually expands from the carry-on's shape to the full size.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
One thing I like about it is that it opens sort of in the front. I guess most suitcases do, but when you open this, I'm the type of person who, when you get to the hotel, I don't like put my stuff in drawers. I live out of the suitcase. And this one, when you open it, it almost looks kind of like a closet, like it has shelves. So you kind of stand it upright, and you can kind of use it as a mini closet. So I like that.
I like that too.
I think my only qualms here is it's pretty big and heavy, and probably quite cumbersome to move around an airport with. Now things start to take an interesting turn here. Number 2, the Moto bag. This I don't know if you've seen this, but this is a rideable suitcase, a motorized rideable suitcase.
I have seen this before, and I also should admit that While trying to come up with my own idea, I thought, well, is that the solution? Like, do we need to be riding on the suitcases?
I'll read you my exact note that I took when I was researching earlier. Kind of amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's stupid as fuck, but kind of awesome. Because, like, you just watch the people and, like, I don't think I could take it. I just couldn't take it seriously if I saw someone ride one of these in an airport, but it's kind of cool. I think the downsides are only 85% of the space. It can only hold 85% of the space of a traditional carry-on, and it's $1,500.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a drawback.
That and
it does kind of look like when you see like an adult male riding on it, it looks like he's on one of those little playground ponies.
Yeah, that's a good example because that's about the height it is. So like when you're riding this, don't picture a motorcycle. picture the playground pony.
We've come really far from men being afraid to wheel their suitcases to riding on these little.
Yeah. That's progressive of us that we're okay with this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was, I think, successful as well. They've done some demos, and I'm interested to see if we see those around. I know for a while you were seeing people ride those little Segway type things in the airports. So who knows? Yeah. The last one here is the Travel Mate, and you referenced this one earlier, not by name, but this is the fully autonomous suitcase robot that follows you through the airport.
Yeah.
And okay, very successful Indiegogo, over $800,000, and they have a few demo videos of how it works. And I watched a couple of them, and it looked pretty good, but I was just kind of confused on how it was working. I was like, I didn't see cameras, and they didn't like come out and just explain this is how it works, and so I was like reading their page, and I just couldn't find anything. And then turns out there's a subreddit called Shitty Kickstarters, and there's a lot of threads on this company. And it basically turns out that I think it's a scam, believe it or not.
Really? So it doesn't actually do what it says it does?
No, I think at least at this point, it is like a motorized, robot suitcase, but you have to control it manually from an application on the phone. So it's like you're walking and you basically have to control this little RC toy at the same time.
I don't see why they couldn't put like the technology that's in the DJI drones into it, whether it follows you based upon the coordinates of your phone in your pocket, or maybe it has like motion sensors that can sort of track you.
I think we're just not there yet exactly. Like those work on the drones typically because like you're the sole object that it's tracking, and you stand out well against your background and stuff like that. In an airport,
a lot less stuff in the way.
Right. In an airport, there's 800 other people who look like you in the frame that it's trying to follow.
It would be really funny if like your suitcase got confused and started following someone.
You just like get to your destination and there's like a random suitcase following you onto the plane.
Yeah. But I'll also admit, I when I heard about this and I was trying to come up with my own idea, I thought, oh, geez, that solves a lot of complaints that I have about the suitcase.
It does,
and carry it.
Fortunately, we're not held to the same standard as the people who actually made a campaign for this. So
no, we would never ask for money from people,
right,
for any of our ideas.
Yeah. So they've been delaying shipments, and like the CEO of the company has changed 5 times, and people have just chalked that up to saying like you're never going to get a product from them. So
yeah, that happens sometimes at Kickstarters.
Yep.
All right, so let's jump into our ideas. That just might work. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'll admit I kind of had a hard time with this one because I think the suitcase it doesn't do much, but it kind of does what it's designed to do pretty well. It's hard to modify the form factor because I was trying to be considerate of airline requirements.
That's good.
So what I came up with is we'll get to the name at the end, because I think the name is maybe the best part of my product, which is not always the case. Sometimes I have a great name and a great idea. This sounds like it would be a failed Kickstarter, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Similar form to the modern Travel-On suitcase,
okay,
wheeled, like the Samsonite, the one that everyone has.
Yeah.
It will be a fashion statement. I don't know if that means you can get it in different materials, you can get different prints, you can maybe like hang a little license plate off the back of it. And speaking of which, the way that you pull it is totally different from anything that I've heard of or that we've discussed. So,
I like that because when I was thinking about innovation, I was watching all these Kickstarters with suitcases, and it's like just they're all identical, and everyone's pulling them the same way, and I'm like, I feel like there's a different way. I just couldn't figure it out, so I'm hoping you did.
Yeah, I don't know what your thought process is for most episodes of That Just Might Work, but when I think about an object, the first thing I think about is like the form factor of it. And is there a better one that we're just afraid to transition to? I didn't really do that in this case, but I did totally change the way that we're pulling it.
Okay.
So, picture like a trailer with like a trailer hitch. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So you have this the trailer hitch, which attaches to your belt or your rear belt loop, and then your suitcase is going to attach to that. So you're basically going to have like a trailer that you're towing behind you.
Sure, of course. Hands free. I like that.
It's hands free. You can, carry your bag of nuts and your cola, or I don't know why I gave those as examples. I never have a bag of nuts or a cola at the airport.
Traditional travel foods. Bag of nuts and a cola.
Maybe if I'm going to the movies or something, you get your popcorn and your soda.
And your luggage in tow behind you.
So you're towing it behind you. It's hands-free. It's not going to use a lot of require a lot of force. It's on the ground. There's a little bit of weight on your waist, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to make wider turns.
Right, is it going to like swing out as you make turns?
Well, no, it's going to work like a trailer. So you can't make the same sharp turns. But my hope is that it won't tip over like it does when you are carrying it to the side.
I see.
Some other functions built into it. It has a refrigerator compartment with a removable ice pack to keep your perishables fresh on a long flight.
Oh, that's nice.
You go somewhere, you get some good cheese, for example, and you want to bring it home with you. You just keep this little freezer compartment in in your hotel freezer and pop it out, put it in, get going. It's going to be good for 4 or 5 hours, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
It has a built-in battery with ports to charge your devices. I'm thinking you always have it with you at the airport. You're always concerned with charging your iPads, your phones, maybe your laptops. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's got a little battery pack of its own. You recharge at the hotel and when you're home. It has GPS, of course, so you can track its location because this thing is going to be like $500.
Yep.
It has a...
You're like,
okay.
Where's my suitcase? Oh, right behind me. In tow still.
Yeah. Right. It should also have blinkers, maybe, so you can indicate your walking patterns in the
airport. It beeps if you have to back up.
Yeah, I like that. You know what? Backing up might be difficult. I didn't think about that. So this next component is something that I believe I have seen in existence already, and I'm just throwing that disclaimer out here. I don't think I came up with this.
Okay.
But those like hanging shelves you can have in a closet? You hang it from the coat rack.
Yeah, I have them.
Bar. And then you can put some clothes in it. You basically have one of those that folds up into itself inside of the suitcase. So when you're ready to pack for the trip, you pull it out, you hang it on your coat rack, and you put your outfits into the shelves. Then you simply take it off the coat rack, lower it, and it collapses into the suitcase.
Ooh.
Then you travel. When you get to your hotel, you simply pull it out of the suitcase, hang it up, and you have a hanging dresser.
I like that a lot because I already said I live out of the suitcase. This would be like I could actually use the closet without any of the effort.
Yes, and we're going to come back to the idea of sort of bringing your closet with you.
Okay.
One last fun little quirky attachment, and I have to give some credit to Stephanie, my fiance. She gave me a lot of these ideas. I have an issue with you go on the trip, you wear your clothes, then you have all this dirty clothes, and like you don't want to fold it because then you don't want to get it mixed up with your clean clothes, and like so you just kind of shove it in the side, right?
Yep.
It's going to have a laundry compartment where you put your dirty clothes, and then using the built-in battery pack, it's going to be able to vacuum seal your dirty laundry.
Oh.
Just to use a little bit.
It saves space and also kind of, quarantine.
Yes, exactly. So with that, as I mentioned, the closet that you take with you, it's the I'm trying to
yeah, you're trying to stumble towards the name, and I'm worried.
I'm trying to vamp a little bit here. The closet that you take with you, the
armoire for the airport.
Yes, thank you. We're getting there, and so I'm gonna call it the armoire you are.
Like, what is the wordplay there supposed to be?
It's
I'm not sure I got it.
It's ready. I'll say it again. Armoire you are.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So
I'm where you are.
I'm where you are, except it's armoire you are.
All right.
And for fun, we might spell you are like armoire.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
very French sounding. So that's my idea, the armoire you are.
I like it. I mean, it will also kind of look ridiculous, but it's got some, major perks not having to actually handle the suitcase as you're walking or running.
There's a few merits. Yeah. If I could implement the autonomous just follow you technology, I think I would.
Right, but you're being more sensible than those Indiegogo guys.
Yes, totally sensible.
Yeah, everything else about this, super sensible.
What do you have?
I went the carry-on direction,
okay,
more than the full size, and I thought a little bit just about my very recent travel, and both of my travel days were just really, really long. I had early flights. So I was getting to the airport at like 4:30 or 5, and really, all I
wanted
built-in
alarm clock.
I mean, yes, I should probably have that, but all I really wanted to be able to do was sleep. Sometimes I have these layovers that are kind of long, and I really just want to be able to sleep and not sitting in one of the uncomfortable chairs of an airport. So, my carry-on luggage. I'll admit up front, this probably won't fall into the class of lightweight carry-ons, but the premier feature is a built-in inflatable mattress. Okay, so similar. Yours had an electric pump in it, and mine does as well. You just find a corner of the airport, turn on the pump, and let's say the rear side of this luggage rolls out into a air mattress. Now, you can, if you are stuck in an airport overnight, if you just have a long layover, any of those things, you can now take a nap in the airport.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna keep going with it. I did think about our last episode, and I figured, this is going to be the carry-on made for sleeping. And so I'm going to include a built-in cervical collar.
Just pops out of the back, and then once you get on the plane.
Exactly. Yeah. So you sleep laying down in the airport, then you get on the plane, you want to keep sleeping, lock your neck in place. Do you want to hear my name?
The only thing I want to chime in with, I do want to hear the name, is I'm not really comfortable sleeping at the airport. On the plane, yes. In the airport, no. You wouldn't feel weird about laying on a mattress in the airport?
I mean, when I think about it, not having traveled in a while, I'm like, oh, that's weird. But when you're actually there and you're having a terrible travel day, my opinion's a little different. I should take a moment to give some credit to my friend Ryan, who has, I don't want to sell his idea out and then have it be stolen, but he wants there to be this service basically in the airport where you can essentially pay someone to watch after you and your belongings while you rest and sleep in the airport. and so this way, like, you don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen, and also they're there to make sure you do get up and you don't miss your flight. So
can you, if you pay them a little more, will they like whisper sweet nothings in your ear?
Yeah, there's tiers. There's like the massage tier, the cuddle tier. There's
there's the one where they're just like, you're so cute. Look at you, look at you laying on the floor right there. Well, you know what they have is some airports around the world are implementing like little sleep pods where you can pay money to, like nap stations.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen those, but my solution would be forget about your mattress. Just grab my the living womb and from last episode, and just you can use that sitting in a chair.
Yeah, I think you could. I'm just you can't go wrong with lying flat on the lying parallel to the ground, so to speak.
That's true.
So my name, before we jump past it. The carry-on.
Jesse Schwader.
The Schwader Bros are introducing.
I'm sorry. The carry-on?
The carry-on.
Beautiful name.
Thank you. So it's a regular carry-on, but it's really all about sleep and comfort in the airport. I'm all
about puns, and you didn't make a pun just to make a pun. Like I did.
Right.
Instead of kind of, yawn, you're sleepy, it's a carry-on. It's the carry-on.
And, for my video, I'll say that it uses, like, soda can aluminum for the frame.
Yes.
Something strong.
Coca-Cola grade aluminum.
Built with Coke cans, keeps your cola and your nuts cold.
Perfect. All right, I like it. I think it's worth pointing out that neither of our ideas. I don't know if I can say about yours, but I feel like again I want to say the modern suitcase is pretty good.
Right. If I had to rank the ideas we've tackled so far, the suitcase is probably closest to really doing the job I want it to do.
Which is funny because while there are smart suitcases, I'm not sure that I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm not sure that the suitcase needs smart technology.
Whoa, slow down.
I know. I mean, it does need an LCD screen and Bluetooth and wireless like everything else.
Yeah, no, of course.
But it has been innovated upon. Over time, and it's kind of got a good thing going right now.
What I would like you to do is to prototype yours, and I want you to try it out in an airport and let me know how it goes.
You know what? It really wouldn't be very difficult. I just need to attach some sort of hitch to the handle of a wheeled suitcase, right?
Yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it.
All right, you prototype yours too. Just.
Bring an air mattress.
Just bring an air mattress to the airport and let me know how that goes.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, time to conclude the episode with our favorite game. Has somebody died using it? The Suitcase Edition.
Yep, and I'll be asking you this time the two questions. Has someone died, and how did they die?
Right. Score, I believe, is tied at 2-2.
Yep.
So with an opportunity to pull ahead here. I thought about this for a long time. Ways that somebody could die by suitcase. I'm sure the people have been killed and put in suitcases. I'm sure that somebody may have gotten trapped inside of a suitcase at some point. I could see that being, they get stuck in there and then, I don't know, they suffocate or
they starve. You run out of nuts and you just shit out of luck.
I could see if one was really full and fell on somebody, it could like break their neck and kill them.
Okay.
That was all I could come up with. I couldn't think of any other way that a suitcase could Unless somebody was like chasing it into traffic. But
I think it's it's kind of funny. It might make sense though. It's like the travel objects are like fairly innocuous, and that's sort of the TSA's goal, right?
Yeah, probably.
Is to make travel as safe as possible.
There's not enough electricity in them to electrocute somebody.
Right.
Poisoning is out the window, I think. Unless it, your suitcase picked up some weird bacteria on a trip.
That could happen, depending on where you go.
So, in an effort to pull ahead for a point here, I'm going to say no. No one has ever died by suitcase.
All right. I'm going to get into it. I have one short story, kind of, before we get to the real answer. And This is because I Googled suitcase death, as you do when you're researching this. And there's the first thing that comes up is a Wikipedia article on the death of Gareth Williams. Gareth Williams was a British spy, part of M16, just like James Bond. And he disappeared, and his body was eventually found in a red North Face bag, padlocked from the outside in the bathtub of a hotel room. Initially, the coroner, said the... It was unnatural.
So he was found dead in the suitcase, padlocked.
Correct.
Okay.
And the initial investigation...
Sounds like murder.
Yeah, the initial investigation and the autopsy said this was unnatural and likely to have been criminally meditated. Pretty reasonable statement. The coroner's findings actually spurred another investigation for some reason, and the Metropolitan Police looked into it, and they came back and said the most probable scenario was that he had died alone in his flat or in the hotel room in central London as the result of accidentally locking himself inside the bag.
I have some questions.
No, sure. What I think really happened here is much like that umbrella death we talked about with the KGB operative. Basically, what people think now is that he was killed by the KGB and there was some sort of manipulation of the police force by the Russians. Oh, that's kind of a topical note, but to basically come out with that story. And it's like, I don't understand how they could say that and have anyone believe it.
I see. Yeah, because it's like, all right, it sounds like a riddle. Like this guy was found dead inside the suitcase. Suitcase was locked on the outside.
Right. Can you figure out how he might have done that? No.
How could you lock it from inside of the suitcase? So,
yeah, I think everyone is pretty much in agreement on what actually happened. So that was just one interesting suitcase death story. Like you already said, I did find a lot of murders where people were eventually found in suitcases. That's pretty popular.
Yeah.
But that doesn't count. Now, on to the real answer.
Okay.
American silent film actor Tom Mix was killed by his aluminum suitcase in a car accident. Oh, I wasn't ready for the buzzer. But he was driving to Phoenix, Arizona, and
as a projectile. Why didn't I think of that?
And he swerved to avoid something in the road, basically. And I kind of thought, did the car accident kill him? But no, they're pretty sure actually that the aluminum suitcase he had in the back of his car came forward and broke his neck.
It must have been airplane grade aluminum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That shit flew, so it must have been. Today, the dented suitcase of death is the featured attraction at the Tom Mix Museum in Dewey, Oklahoma.
We gotta go see that thing. That is that is pretty cool.
I was gonna say it sounds like maybe one of the least interesting museums ever. Particularly if you have no idea who Tom Mix is, which I didn't. He's a pretty famous silent film actor.
Where was it? Minnesota?
The museum is in Oklahoma. I actually travel there for work sometimes. So you know what? If I'm in Oklahoma, I'll make a trip.
I would appreciate it if you did. Just I want a picture of you with the suitcase just for the blog.
Okay.
All right, so no points awarded to me, and that's the first time I guessed no. I know I shouldn't have.
Yes, it's sometimes with these objects you feel like there's just no way, but the world finds a way.
Yes, it does. All right, that is Has Someone Died Using It, and that's going to more or less conclude today's episode of That Just Might Work. As always, we encourage your feedback. If you have ideas of everyday items you'd like to hear an episode on, if you have any comments on any of our inventions, if you'd like to give us crap for something that we said, you can send an email to feedback@thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. Give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram @thatjustmightwork. On Twitter, it's @TJMW Podcast, @TJMW, still owned by Tyler Womack as of February 18th, 2018.
Yeah. Where did we say Tyler Womack lives again?
Oakland, California.
Oakland. See, I was out in San Diego, and I was thinking, like, if I put up some stickers, is it going to increase the chance he finds out?
Probably not, but that would have been really funny.
Yeah.
Maybe if you put one in his mailbox.
I don't think we have his address yet, right?
No, I don't think we should either. So yeah, give us a follow on social media. We encourage the feedback as always, and join us next week. You never know, we might be talking about your favorite everyday item.
Thanks for listening.